Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vassell.
G Garcia, what's happening, everybody?
Sam Healy, hello.
So today we're going to do something. This is the second year in a row we've done this list. You just never saw the first year because last year we did this. It got deleted.
Lost.
What?
So last year I said, hey, it would be good if we took a look at games that were 10 years old. So we did the best games of 2005. We recorded it. It never got posted because I accidentally deleted all the footage.
And it was our best top 10 list
Ever.
It actually was pretty fun, but it was also, we didn't redo it because the whole not knowing what other people think would be spoiled and such. So
Yeah.
we're now doing it again. So for the first time, second time, whatever, we're going to take a look back 10 years ago at the year 2006 and our favorite 10 games from that year. Now, it was an interesting thing. These are easier lists, for you two guys to make. You know, you just look at the games from a year.
It is, right, because it's hard data, you know?
These number one seemed probably very difficult in this year.
I wonder.
I've gone through all the different years, and I've ranked them like my favorite years and such. 2006 is not even in the top 10, though. There were some really good games that came out in 2006, but it was not that fantastic of a year, I think. Do you disagree? I'm saying
No, I
it was
think
good
it was
games,
a...
I think it was
compared to
pretty.
the
I
years
think it was
around
a solid year.
Yeah, I think...
I don't think it was as good as 05.
No, I think
have-
05 is one of the best years
Yeah.
ever.
Well, I
but-
very easily came up with 10 games, but very quickly, like around even 20, the list would start dropping off considerably.
Yeah.
So I guess if a year by now, 10 years later, I've had 10 years to play these games, and I can only think of 20 really good games, then yeah, I guess it wasn't that good of a year.
But 20 games is a solid
It
year.
is,
I mean,
but-
by today's standards, maybe not, because we have so many really good games coming out. But I don't know. I think 20 games that come out a year that are memorable 10 years later, that are remarkable 10 years later, I think that's pretty solid.
Yeah, but for me, I looked at like how many of those games are in my collection right now,
I did that too.
and only my top 5 are.
My top 6 are.
So, but 2005,
I have
think-
all of these.
I think all 10 are in my top.
You to me.
Well, yeah, but all his are like really small.
I know,
so
right?
He's able to fit them all in
he
one
can
box.
fit.
Nope.
Just say yes.
These are...
I have his
None
number.
of these games are tiny.
I have his number one game, just not in a box.
Yeah.
You don't even know what it is, fool.
We know your
We
number one
both
game is.
know what your
All
number one is.
right, let's get started. Here we go.
Number 10.
All right, my number 10 is a game that actually already has a second edition, so it has been replaced in that respect, but this is a game that is in the Commands and Colors system. It is the fantasy side of it, and that is Battle Lore from Richard Borg. And it's a game that I really enjoyed playing a lot. I was hoping that they were going to take it in the historical knights and shining armor and all of that kind of stuff route, but they decided to take it the more fantastical route. So I lost interest early on. With the second edition, that interest has been revamped, so I do enjoy the game and we do play it regularly, as regularly as we can. But back in 2006, this was the game for me. I really enjoyed this game a lot, but it has since been replaced by its own, what is that called?
Second version? I mean,
No,
it's
not-
own revamping. I don't
Not
know.
predecessor, but
Successor.
Successor.
Thank you.
Battlelore is dead. Long live Battlelore.
Yes, that is pretty much what it is. But my number 10, Battle Lore, first edition.
All right.
That would have been my number 11.
I'm
Yeah.
going to say that there's at least 2 games on everyone's list. Oh, maybe not.
Did we cross over on you?
Yeah,
I
but
don't
me
know.
and Z are going to cross over on several, and me and Sam will cross over on several. All right, but my number 10 is probably on neither of your lists. My
Bring
number
it.
10 is Gift Trap.
What'd I tell you? What'd I tell you? I told you it was going to be on his list.
Did you really?
I did. Of course, you love this stupid game.
Yeah, I do like Gift Trap. Gift Trap is a game that comes with a whole bunch of gifts, and they're like organized. I don't know what that means.
It's right there.
That's his number 10 too.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah! So in your face. 2 to
It's
1.
stupid game.
It is
Be
a
quiet,
stupid
you.
game.
It's 2 people against 1.
Stupid. It's dumb.
You just didn't like the packaging. That turned you off of the game when it first came in.
I didn't like the packaging. I don't like the stock photos that they just pulled down off the internet
You're so
for each
full of-
card.
You wanted them to draw pictures?
Oh. Artwork, people.
No, look,
Come
I
on.
get back on artwork, but when you're talking about like something like a hot air balloon, why would you not use a picture of a hot air balloon ride?
Because artists are awesome.
And expensive. Anyway, I like the fact that the gifts are sorted into 3 different types. You have like garbage gifts,
Yeah.
decent gifts, and then amazing gifts. And then you're just trying to guess what everyone else wants. Now, the game has a flaw, I think, in that if you play with people you never played before, it really can fall flat. Like, if I don't know if I've just met him for the first time, I don't know what he wants. But once you know people, like for families, this game's hilarious.
I actually think this game is really good for, as a party game, obviously, again, my number 10 as well. It's great for this in-between, actually, because there's good party games for people you've known for years and have grown up with. And there's party games that are great as icebreakers. I actually like this because it's good for folks you've known a little bit and you want to get to know better. It's solid for that.
Okay, no, I'll buy that. I'm saying, but as an icebreaker, I think this doesn't work.
It's
good.
not good for that because it's going to put you in a weird like situation where you're buying people gifts and you don't really know what they like, and then it turns out they would have hated it. So, yeah, that's an awkward like icebreaker. But not every party game has to be an icebreaker game.
I don't. Maybe I'm just not good at buying gifts for people.
Oh yeah, no.
But I'll remember that the next time I have an idea to buy you something. Z.
Your birthday's next, dude.
Oh, I mean, yes, you're very good.
Forget
You're
it.
very good at buying gifts for people.
Anyway,
It's a gift trap.
yeah, it's right. It's a trap. Yeah. But you get the idea, though.
Get that as a hat.
This is one of the reasons why I don't like the game, because it replicates that awkward, I'm going to buy this for somebody, but I don't know if they're going to like it.
Okay, I can see that. I can see that if you play with people you don't know yet.
You're oh, yeah, sure, definitely they're going to love this. And they turn it over and they're like, eh. And then you're like,
Oh, but see, I don't
Okay,
take it
yeah.
whole
seriously.
deflated.
It's
No,
just
no,
a
no,
game.
no. Not during the game, but it still replicates that. And of course, I'm not like deflated in the game, but it definitely brings back memories where I haven't actually done that in real life, and I was very excited.
Okay.
I just don't like the game because of that, and because of all the production issues that I've always brought up.
It's PG.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Stress.
It's my number 10 as well, Gift Trap.
Number 9.
My number 9 is higher on Sam's list. I'm sure.
How do you know?
Okay, maybe it's not. And Sam will probably give me garbage for how low it is, and that's Shogun. I do like Shogun a lot. This is the updated version of Wallenstein. I liked it not as much as Wallenstein because I think the map size is not as good. It was too long for me. I like the bigger, wider open stuff. However, it still is a pretty solid, good game, and it added it added the way to pick turn order better than Wallenstein, so that Wallenstein eventually added that back in later on.
So it was an improvement, right?
That part was an improvement.
Okay,
yes.
good. Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, how many times? It's like I already have all the arguments memorized. All right,
you
I'm
do,
done.
yeah.
Shogun, go. Are you serious? You ain't copying my list,
You
buddy.
copied my list, fool.
Oh my
He is
goodness.
making editing so easy for me. Anyway, my number 9.
Plagiarism.
And this is not scribbled over, so I'm not cheating over here. My number 9 is also Shogun. I have not actually played Wallenstein, but I like Shogun. I like the theme. I like
Pronounce it the German way. Wallenstein.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I like the theme of this one. I like everything it brings. I don't think I'd like the setting in the other one, and so it doesn't attract me. But this setting, the Japanese setting, I think is very cool. It's very evocative. There's just something to it that I want to live in that world and play in it. So for me, that's why it's a game I really enjoy. It's a big game. It's a game I don't bring to the table very often, but it's clever. It has
I'm actually
innovative
surprised
aspects.
you like the game, actually.
I do like it. I still
I'm
own it.
surprised you like
Yeah.
it. Yeah. I knew you do, but I just
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would not have picked.
this is
you
not
like
in your
it.
wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Well, it's a Euro game with a little bit of conflict, but that conflict is innovative, and I enjoy the things it does because it
Cute
does them
tower.
well, you know. So Shogun, number 9.
All right, my number 9 is basically it was a new take on an old and busted game, and that is Catan History's Struggle for Rome.
Wow, did you just call Catan an old and busted game?
Yeah, I did. But anyway. No, That's all right. It's all right. It's not the first time I've said that.
I
I'm
want to get
good.
hit by the
I'm good.
splash over effect.
But this is the one where it took Catan history. It took the Settlers of Catan, or Catan as it is now called, and gave it meaning, theme, gave it a historical context that I could sink my teeth into. Plus, it's just a very cool part of history anyway, the whole idea of the Roman expansion and that kind of thing. But I really enjoyed the added gameplay that got added to the Catan basic foundation. So, Catan Histories, Struggle for Rome, my number 9.
It's interesting. I like that game. It just seems like one that I would never go back to. Like, oh, that was fun. It was a nice variant, kind of cool. And then if you offered to play it, I'd be like,
No, this is not the one you like the most, the German one. This is
Yeah,
something else.
this is
No,
something
this
else,
one
right?
had horses. I was one of the
never-
resources, I believe. It
I
was,
don't think I ever played the
there was some
Struggles for
movement
Rome one.
ability. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
no,
was cool.
I enjoyed it a lot. I would go back to this one before I went back to Catan.
Oh, man, we're going to get so beat up.
I'm just saying.
Number 8.
All right, my number 8 is a gorgeous production because it's a Days of Wonder game, and this is Cleopatra and the Society of Architects, which is a Bruno Catala and I think Ludwig Maublanc design, in which you are building Cleopatra's palace. The game is very attractive, has a lot of plastic pieces. You, in fact, even take the box and flip it over the bottom of the box, and that becomes part of her castle. And it's just, I mean, it's unbelievable. It's a very cool game. The gameplay itself is cool. I don't think it scales very well. But if I have 3 players and the time to play a longer game, like, an hour and a half game, and it's not like a little filler. Well, I mean, not like a little, 20-minute card game.
longer game.
I know, right?
That's a longer game for me.
2 hours is epic.
2 hours is, a space battle extravaganza.
2.5 hours. I gotta
No,
call
come
home
on
and
now.
tell them I'm
Go
okay.
watch Lord of the Rings for that. If I want to play a game like this and I have 3 players specifically, then I'll definitely bring it out. I think it plays best at 3 and doesn't really scale too well up from that. But yeah, Cleopatra and the Society of Architects, I like it a lot. It's actually Catan-esque, in which you collect sets and then build things. Yeah. But I think it blows that game out of the water, actually. So
I would agree on that point, sir.
that's my 8.
My number 8 is going to be higher on both of these two guys' lists.
Nope.
I'm more than likely
Cross
sure.
it out right now.
And that is a really cool worker placement game called Pillars of the Earth.
Never heard of it.
And liars, both of you, villainy. It was, I think, if memory serves me correct, this is the first truly worker placement game that I ever played. And it might be one of the very first Euro games that I ever played. So it was a very interesting introduction to that genre, which failed me after this game. That's why I went to Amerithrash. But and we'll still play Euro games. Don't get me wrong, but I'm definitely an Amerithrasher. But I really do enjoy worker placement, and this is the one that brought that genre alive for me. So that's Pillars of the Earth, my number 8.
All right, well, my number 8 is where I diverge from Z now.
Aw.
We're going on 2 very different paths. He would not even touch this game with a stick, and that is Warrior Knights.
No. That's a little longer than 90 minutes, yeah.
Nah, yeah, it's about 3 to 4 hours, yeah. That's a the Z. But
Yeah.
Warrior Knights was 2005, Twilight Imperium 3 came out.
Right.
Warrior Knights was, hey, let's make a fantasy epic game. And they did. Now, this game is not like you might imagine. It's not armies crossing the board and fighting each other. There was politics and intrigue and trying to be in charge of the religious structure. When you add in the expansion technology and sending people off on trips to go discover new places. And the politics was pretty strong in it. The game today does not hold up as well. It's a little, well, not a little, a lot clunkier than it probably should be. And this was the second edition of the earlier version, which I have not played.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. The experience I played in the game are super fun. But for what it is, it was too long and I don't play it as much today. But I still have a lot of great memories of this game. I wouldn't mind seeing like a 2-hour version of it now, streamlined. Maybe Come on, Christian. But that's Warrior Knights.
And one of the co-designers on this was actually Bruno Fedudi, which is
Right.
the least Fedudian game I can possibly
I
think
don't
of.
know how
Fedudian.
much.
Okay.
I don't know how much he was involved with it
Yeah.
because it doesn't feel very Fedudi-ish.
Right.
But yeah, so that's Warrior Knights.
Yeah, Warrior Knights kind of fell. I still own it. It's on my shelf.
What? You
yeah.
own it?
Yeah, I still
did
have
not
it.
know this.
It's probably your old copy.
Probably.
But I still have it, and there's an affinity there. It just, again, it's the for what it is and how long it is. If I'm going to play something that long, I want to play my favorite game. So that's a good choice though.
Number 7.
All right, my number 7 is a game from Istari called Mikarinos or Mycarinos. I've always kept saying Mycarinos, even though I think that's wrong, Mikarinos. And this is the first game from them that I really enjoyed. Before this, they did Kalis, and I was not a big fan of Kalis. And they did Ease, which I don't think I've played. Ispahan was after this, I want to say. But Mikarinos is a small Euro game with very streamlined concepts in it. It's an area control game. You are exploring the plots of land and then digging up whatever, in the desert and then taking it to a museum and displaying it at the museum. It's a Euro game through and through. The theme is very thin, but it's a very engaging game and it's a very quick game, and that's appealing to me. A game that gives me a lot of gameplay in 30, 45 minutes, and I think this game does that in a cool way. The theme, again, is thin, but the game mechanisms, I think, make up for that. So Mikarinos is my number 7. I still own it, still really like it.
That was my number 11. I really think it feels like a heavy game in a short period of time.
Yeah, they crammed a lot in there.
Components are okay.
Oh, it's cubes, and I mean, it's
Yeah.
the theme, again, is real thin.
All right, my number 7. I'm back with Z again, not with this game, but I know this one's on your list, and that is Blue Moon City.
Nope.
The game that was robbed for the Spiel des Jahres. Should have won. I'm not usually a huge fan of Dr. Knizi's games, and I went into this one, I remember, first time with a very heavy dose of skepticism because I did not like Blue Moon, right? Which we got evidenced by our last top 10. And so I went into this like, all right, let's try it out. And I was like, wow, this is a completely different game. I love the fact that you have this handful of cards and you can play as many as you want it to do different things and move around the border. You could keep them to build stuff. Mm-hmm. It was really cool. Played pretty quickly, great artwork. Yeah, and I think it still holds up today. This one, what are we at? This one is one of the last two that's not in my collection. But this one just space is the only reason I don't have it.
Yeah, and it's
solid.
criminally out of print. Very out of print. I don't know why, because I think it's a good game too. Not on my list though.
It's not?
Maybe.
All right, my number 7 is definitely on Z's list.
You guys, I'm just gonna let them do the rest of my list.
Definitely on Z's list, much higher. But Neuroshima Hex is a game that I have enjoyed over the past. I've enjoyed it more on my device, my digital device, than I have actually on the table because.
Math is hard.
Well.
No.
Kidding, I'm kidding.
No.
I played a lot on the iPad.
I get my butt kicked on the iPad as well. That has nothing to do. I'm not good at this game, but I really do enjoy it. I like all of the different feels that each of the different factions have. I really like that when games can do that, where they're asymmetrical, but they're still balanced. I really do enjoy that. So it's made my list. It's definitely going to be higher on Z's, but it's number 7, Neuroshima Hex.
And this was one that I considered, I think it was like 12 or 13. It just has kind of waned for me over the years, and the iPad, that's all I play, and even that, I don't play that much. The thing is, when I put it on iPad, for some reason, I think it works better on the iPad, but when I look at it, suddenly it just like numbers. I don't know how to explain it. I just see like piles of numbers, and the theming is lost a little.
Okay.
But I give it high props, and I'm glad it exists because Portal is now one of my favorite companies.
Yeah.
So.
Number 6.
All right, I've been syncing with Z. It's time to switch over to Samuel.
Uh-oh.
And so now I'll go with Battle Lore.
Okay.
Now this is only 6 on my list because Battle Lore 2 just
Replaced it.
replaced it completely. And It's odd because Sam said he wanted them to go in a more historical direction. It was driving me nuts that they were going in a historical direction because when it first came out, they were like, "Hey, it comes with this giant
100 Years War.
What was it? A spider? There was some monster that was in the box. And it's
Right.
like, ooh, more monsters! I can't wait to see more." And then there was no more. They added some more like a month before they sold it to Fantasy Flight. And I was like, what? But then they were adding they were adding dwarves and they were adding, what was the other faction? Orcs, I think? Or goblins? Or whatever the
Goblins,
factions
I think,
were.
goblins,
They
yeah.
were essentially humans. Like the orcs were essentially Scottish armies. They were playing bagpipes and stuff.
Yeah.
And it didn't just feel very fantasy-like. They didn't add more cards, and that's why it kind of fizzled for me. But the gameplay, adding the lore system, that was great.
Yeah.
That was a really cool idea. The components were good. Although, again, they made both armies the same color with different flags. There were some questionable design choices that I didn't mind at first, but as I kept playing them over time, I was like, wish my army was all one color. It'd be a lot easier to tell
Yeah.
where it was. Or you can be like Sam and paint them all. I'm just kidding.
I
know
did
you
not
would
paint them all.
But Rob would have.
Yes. Overnight.
Overnight.
Over supper.
Yes.
All right, so anyway, that's Battlelore, my number 6.
All right, my number 6 is a game that probably won't be on these other two guys' list because they're not part of this genre. They're not savvy on this genre very, very much.
Oh, now I'm going to say it's on.
And
my number 1 now.
believe me, it is not. It is not. It's Combat Commander Europe.
You don't know if that's on our list.
It's
My
not.
number 0 is so high.
No, it's not.
We're just not going there.
I don't
-1.
I don't travel often in this genre because they are heavier type games. This is about as far down the heavy war game path that I'm willing to go with the possible difference of ASLSK, Advanced Squad Leader Starter Kits. I might go there, but that's about where I stop, and I don't go any further than that. But this is one that I still have it on my shelf. It doesn't hit the table very often, but I'm weary to get. I'm not weary, but I'm. What is the world? What in the world? I'm having trouble with my words today. Shocking. I'm wary to get rid of it because I have a lot of it, and I know if I get rid of it, I'm probably going to regret it. So I'm keeping it for now. Doesn't
Never
hit the table.
regret.
It doesn't hit the table as often as it had in the past, but it is still one of those games that I'm holding on to for reasons of my own. Combat Commander Europe.
I think the game is a fine game. It is definitely the heaviest that I'm willing to get into a game, and nowadays I've kind of shrunk that down a little bit, so
Yeah.
it's actually outside that range for me a little bit now, which is why I didn't make my list, but I think the game itself is very well designed and a good game.
And for me, it would have been my 14, actually. So,
Lies.
yeah, no, I'm not touching this game with
A 10-foot cattle
10-foot
prod. Yeah.
cattle prod. Yeah, I like that. My number 6 is a game that Tom has mentioned already in his prophetic ramblings. Blue Moon City is my number 6. And again, as he said, I think it's a game that, while nothing like Blue Moon, and I was actually a fan of Blue Moon, which is what got me excited about Blue Moon City, but it turned out to be completely different, and that was okay because the game's awesome and it's great artwork. Most of it came from the card game, but there were new illustrations for the board. It had this really interesting feel of kind of working with other people to complete buildings, but working with them just enough that you're doing better than them still, you know?
Area control, really.
Yeah, but if you started a building on your own, you had to pump so many resources into it if no one came and helped you that it was detrimental. So it was good to work with people to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the very few games that I could even call a semi-co-op, and I think that's as far as the term allows. Because I think semi-co-op games don't work, really. This is as close as I'm willing to say a semi-co-op game works. And again, I'm using that term very, very loosely. So Blue Moon City is my number 6 awesome game.
Number 5.
All right, my number 5 is, again, we're in the games that I actually have on my shelves now. So 6 was the first one. And number 5 actually has hit the table much more often than Combat Commander Europe has. And that's one of the reasons why it's above it. Not so much that I like this game better than that, but it's just more playable. That's one of the factors that I use used when I made the list. But Ink and Gold is one that I have played in a number of different situations. I don't know if it's going to be on your lists at all. It was a reprint. I know Diamant didn't come out in 2006, but Ink and Gold definitely did.
That must be why it's not on my list.
Okay.
I must have just considered it to be the same as Diamant. I mean, it essentially is.
It is the same.
If I considered it 2006, it would have made my list.
Okay.
All right.
Well, anyway, I'm curious though because now I have the new copy of Cloud9 Celestia, and it's very similar, has a very similar feel to Ink and Gold. So I'm wondering if Celestia is going to replace it because, and I didn't even make the connection between the two. I brought it to youth group last week, and we played Celestia, and they picked up. This is like Ink and Gold, but I like this better.
They're both push your luck.
Yeah, they're both push your luck mechanics. Has the thing of going further or jumping out and getting,
right.
you know, it has the same feel to it. So I'm curious. We'll see. But Ink and Gold is from 2006. I actually have taken some of Diamant pieces and buffed up my Ink and Gold pieces.
Nice.
My Ink and Gold game. So that's I love the game. Number 5, Ink and Gold.
My number 5 is one that was mentioned already by Mr. Healy, and this is the Pillars of the Earth.
Told you.
My number 5.
Really?
We're really in sync.
Wow, that's weird, dude. We are just right here. All right.
Guess what, everybody?
Drones.
I read the book, so now
Robots.
get on my case about it. Reading the book did not change like how I feel about the game, other than that now if you show me the card with the different people on,
know
like
who
Philip,
they
I'm like, oh yeah, I know that guy. That guy's good. Oh man, that guy's a jerk.
Right.
You know, so there's that.
And I've never read it, but it does not affect your enjoyment of the game, I think. Another game that is criminally out of print, very out of print.
Yes.
And one that should come back into print, just as Blue Moon City should.
Sold at the Jack Vassal auction for a huge amount.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
it's a very solid worker placement game. I want to say the very first worker placement game I played, it and Stone Age were like came out around the same time. I played both of those around the same time, and even though Kalis came out first, I played it much later. Was not as happy with that one. Pillars of the Earth is awesome. It flows well, lots of choices. Interesting theme, even though I haven't read the book, but I can still appreciate everything going on. It's amazing. Yeah, it's a game I don't foresee getting rid of anytime soon. You know, it's a classic for me. So, Pillars of the Earth is my number 5, and Tom's number 5.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I think the expansion is good, not necessary, but I would always play with it. I like the extra stuff. I love that still no other game has copied the mechanism of pulling workers from a bag. And then
And
paying to
the
put them out.
falling prices concept is pretty cool.
Yeah, I really like that. I like how the game has a nice engine. Your stuff gets better as time goes by. The worker placement where you can send a bunch of guys out to collect stuff, or maybe you want to hold them back to do other things. It's just an interesting. The whole thing just really, just a really clean. I mean, we might use that word too much, but just a really clean design. It doesn't feel like there's much fiddliness to it at all.
Z loves the building the cathedral part of it.
Anyhow, I actually do like that. I
Best
also
block in a
think
game ever.
it's a beautiful. It's in my top 5 game boards ever.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I love the components. Just a winner all around. Yeah, Pillars of the Earth. That's on all 3 of our lists.
Number 4.
All right, my number 4 has already been mentioned by Mr. Garcia, and that is Cleopatra and the Society of Architects.
I was not
Really,
expecting this to be on your list.
no, this is evergreen for me. It
okay,
has stayed
okay.
on my shelf for a very long time. And one of the reasons why is first of all the plastic pieces.
Yeah.
How you use the box in a meaningful way to actually build the palace of Cleopatra's palace, and that was really cool, and that's one of the main reasons it's staying in. The gameplay is kind of samey to other games that are out there, but all of the bling that the game comes with is why it stayed on my shelf, and it is a great experience. It's very aesthetic. People watch this game being played from a distance, and they're drawn to it simply by how it looks on the table. And so it's my number 4, Cleopatra and the Society of Architects.
I think it was the first game, if I'm not mistaken, that did that whole. You can do shady dealings,
Yeah.
but you're going to get
You're
these
gonna
bad
pay
tokens,
for it,
and at
yeah.
the end of the game, the person who took the most of those is dead.
Good old corruption.
You just can't win.
Yeah,
They throw you to
you
the
are
crocodiles.
done.
So you want to be the second person who took the most, you know?
Yeah.
It's very clever. Been
I don't know
used
if
in a
it's
lot
the
of other games,
first.
and I think that was the first one that did it.
Was this before
Corruption.
Livingston? Livingston had to pay
Yes,
the
this
queen.
was much before.
But it wasn't before the High Society. High Society had whoever spent the most money lost.
I think you might be right. Yeah, well, High Society is early.
But this one has a different feel to it because you're not really sure, right?
Yeah.
Right.
All right, now my number 4 is also on Z's list. That's not true because it's Through the Ages.
I'm not even going to lie about this one, no.
This is a
Honestly.
now the recent revamping of it is super great, right? Through the Ages. It's interesting because Sam already mentioned Hiroshima Hex, which I think put Portal on the map. Well, Through the Ages put CGE on the map and put Vlaada Chvátil, who no one had heard of at that point in time. Now they knew this designer, and it was a Civilization game that felt like the computer game Civilization. Yes, there wasn't a board, there wasn't moving pieces around, and that bothered some people, but just for pure strategy and replayability, really well done. It's a long game. I like it best myself with 2 players because I just like the back and forth, it's quicker play of it. The updated version is actually in my collection. I just like it that much. So my number 4, Through the Ages.
My number 4 is the odd one out here. It's a party game, a really silly party game, but it had to be on my list, and it's this high because I have had just so many sessions of this game with friends at parties, at many different settings, and this is Pow Wow, which is my excuse me,
Feathers?
my version of that. Yeah, that Coyote game, also known as Coyote. There's a few different names for the same game. But yeah, it's the one where you put a feather on your forehead, and it's like what is that called? Something poker, a version of poker, where you see everybody else's cards except your own,
Oh, yeah.
and then you say in this game what you think the total is among everybody's heads, and then the next person either says no way, that's too high, or they push that total. That's it. But the game is really fun, very easy to teach. It's informal because you can just sort of sit around anywhere you want. You can sit around a living room without a central table and play.
Right. Yeah.
And it makes for a relaxing game, but as you dwindle players away, then people get into it. So it's like self-adjusting. The longer you play and the more you're not eliminated, right? The more into it you're going to get with the other players. But if you're one of the first, 6, 8 players, you're just like, yeah, okay, whatever.
It's not that long of a game that elimination matters that much.
No, it's not. I just really like it. It's again, an evergreen for me. Party game. If I'm going over to someone's house and I'm grabbing a couple of games, I'm probably going to grab Pow Wow. So that is my number 4.
Number 3.
All right, my number 3 is my game that no one else has on their list, and that is On the Underground. Interestingly enough, I just taught this the other night. One of the gamers brought it and said, "Do you know how to play this?" And I was like, "I do." And this is a game where you control a certain number of lines in the London subway. The number of lines you control is based on players. Because of that, I think it's best with 2 or 3 because you control 4 or 3 lines, which I think is more fun. And there's this guy who is going to different destinations, and he's going to get there the most efficient way possible. Actually, not efficient, the laziest way possible. Like, for example, if he will take a long subway to go somewhere rather than walk 2 blocks. He will ride a subway, a long one, rather than switch. So there's some rules. They're pretty simple rules to follow. And so you are trying to set your subways up to catch this guy so you get points every time he rides you. But you also get points for connecting different spots on the board. And so there's different ways to get points in the game. And I just like it. I really feels unique and interesting. Has a little Ticket to Ride in it. Has a little bit of pick up and delivery almost, I guess, of this guy. I just really enjoy the game. And hasn't done well at all, really.
No, that game has vanished. I'm pretty sure.
Ooh. On the
Top 10
Underground.
games that vanished.
No, that's another good idea too. All right, what do you got?
All right, my number 3 is a game that both of these guys really love. I know it's going to be on their lists. Factory Fun. is my number
I was
3.
trying to think.
I was like,
there's no way these last 2 games are what you're talking about.
You are a liar. I don't care what you say.
Lay off this. I like the game. I just don't love it.
You guys are always talking about how I like short games. Lay off. I'm okay with a game that's 60 minutes to like 75, but
That
that's it.
feels like it's 120, yeah.
Yes, that's it. No longer than that. No, Factory Fun is a puzzly game in which you are going to be building a factory in front of you, and it's all about the positioning of these various machines, running piping from one machine to another one. Definitely, if you enjoy well, I should say, if you don't
Sounds
enjoy
like so much
puzzles,
fun.
you will hate this game. I mean, you will loathe this game. And so I understand it's a very divisive creation, this game, but for me, it just sort of clicks with my brain, and I really like it. You know, it's probably very few people who find it just, yeah, okay, you're gonna dig it or really dislike it. But I would say take a look at it if you are someone who does enjoy the idea of putting a little puzzle together. I think this game gives you that feeling. So Factory Fun, for me, I rate it really highly, and that's my number 3.
I enjoy putting a puzzle together.
So Sam's number 3, Factory Fun.
I enjoy putting a puzzle together.
All right, what's your number 3?
Not when other people are trying to steal the pieces before I get them, that's all.
It's a minor part of the game, I think.
You have no chance of winning that game if people are faster at picking the better tiles than you are.
You might like Factory Fun or a little bit
No,
better.
I wouldn't.
There's a rule
I
in there
refuse.
to counter that.
I refuse.
Is there?
Yeah, if you're the one who grabs first, you get a penalty point, and if you're the one who grabs last, you get a bonus point.
Oh, so you're saying they fixed the flaw.
Sure.
Okay. That's cool. My number 3 is a game that he likes, this guy hates.
On my list.
No, it's not going to be on your
You
list.
hate it.
You would
I
have-
love it.
You would have said it by then. You would have
what
said
is-
it by now. It would not be this high on your list, I don't think. Turn-in Taxis is a game that I do enjoy. It is
I
still
considered that.
No, you did not. You just considered it
When I
as
talked
maybe
about-
You fell asleep.
Remember I talked
nighttime.
about Blue Moon City being robbed? Yeah. You agree on that?
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying my game made it, and yours didn't. So
Sam Healy, voice of the people.
no, that's
in
not.
Germany.
That's not
Who
the
are on
case.
it for, okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you better be
Just talk
quiet
about
now.
the game.
Anyway, again, it's an eccentric theme that really is not married to the mechanics of the game at all. But it works, and it piqued my interest, and my interest has stayed with it. I probably it does not hit the table as much, but I do look at it fondly every single time I'm in my. Not every single time, but I mean I don't like
Are you
walk by.
still there, turning taxi?
Hi. Yeah, no.
How you doing?
But it is a game that
That's a meme. You know,
I will not get rid of. I have everything that there is for it, except there might be some obscure.
You have
Promo.
both expansions that came out.
I have both expansions, yes. I have everything that, as far as I know. And I do enjoy the game, so I'm keeping it, not getting rid of it. Turn-in Taxi is my number 3.
All right.
Number 2.
All right, my number 2 is a game that was just, and this is funny that we're doing a 10-year look back because this game was just re-released, is a 10th anniversary edition, and this is Mr. Jack. Mr. Jack came out 10 years ago, of course, and it is pretty much the same game in the reprint. They changed a couple of things, but it doesn't really matter that much. The game is a 2-player deduction-ish game in which one player is Jack the Ripper and the other player is trying to catch that character who is hiding among a series of characters. And so you're going back and forth, taking actions with these characters, moving them on a board that represents that section of London. And it's a game with a lot of tension. It's a game with a lot of interesting choices going on, very puzzly also. And it's one that when I first played just sort of blew my mind, the fact that they could do this with a 2-player only game. You know, that you could have this concept of cat and mouse be so just clever and engaging and interesting. And it was just 2 people. It was not the games I was used to, which was, if it was a cat and mouse game, a group of people hunting someone down. You know what I mean? Like Fear of Dracula, like all that style of games. It was something else. And it just impressed me very, very much. And I love the game still. The game has spawned a series of games based on this concept, and it's pretty awesome. It's unbelievable to me. So my number 2 is Mr. Jack. 2-player games. You got to check this one out if you like that.
All right, my number 2 is already been mentioned on both of these guys' lists. For
He said Pillars already,
the
right?
same reasons as
Shogun.
they have mentioned, and it is Shogun. I actually like this map a lot better than the Germany map.
I thought this was your number 1.
Factory
Nope.
Fun is going to be number 1.
Nope. I actually really did it. I enjoyed how they improved upon Wallenstein. I like Wallenstein, don't get me wrong, but I like this one just a shade better because of the map and how much tighter it is, and you do have to work a little bit harder to make sure people don't turtle and that type of thing. So I enjoy that aspect of the game a lot more than Tom does. So I really enjoy the game. I know both of these guys do as well, so it is a game that is worthy of your attention if you haven't already taken a look at it. My number 2, Shogun.
All right, my number 2 is a game that probably neither of you put because it's been replaced essentially by most people by Sheriff of Nottingham, and that is Heart and Their Grens, which came out that year and was the original version of Sheriff of Nottingham, but it was about smuggling goods across the border between Mexico and America. I think that's what it was. Across some border.
Oh, that's right.
Was it Mexico?
Yeah, okay, right, because you were smuggling across like
Maracas and tequila and
there
all
were
these
sombreros.
things.
That's right.
Sombreros,
right.
but then other other.
It's very
legal
very
things.
stereotyped game.
Yeah.
But the whole concept of it, I was like, let's see how it works. And I remember we had some really great times playing this game because it was just like, wow, there's nothing in my bag. Just that whole line to the other person. Now, there was a couple clunky moments. Final scoring was a little clunky, and that stuff has actually been fixed, I think, in Sheriff of Nottingham. But it was just a great game, and I loved it. I still think some of the things about it, like the little metal suitcases, were awesome. The artwork was funny. It just was really cool. So, Heart and the Grens, my number 2.
And finally, number 1.
Yeah! 15, baby!
May I borrow that hat?
No, you may not.
Fine, then I will crush you with my 10.
3, all right. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go Z, because we know what his is.
You don't know
Me,
anything.
And then Sam.
Starts with
Mine
an N.
is
Starts
through
with
the
an
ages.
N and ends with an exclamation mark.
Is there an exclamation mark in it?
Yes.
There is.
Oh, all right. What is
So we're
it?
going down the list.
We
You
are.
said, all right. My number 1 is, as everybody knows, apparently, Neuroshima Hex.
Yep.
And
Shocking!
it's very cool having just done a top 100 because I could just check that and be like, okay, yeah, that's first, that's second. It was very easy doing this list.
Oh, it's because you just did that top 100, right?
Yeah.
It was, on my top 100, I went all the way up through, let me see, hold on, I think
Wait, are all 10 of these in your top 100?
No, they're not. I think up to Mikarinos, and then the other 3 are not.
Oh, okay.
But it's pretty easy, so... Anyway, so Neuroshima Hex, same thing Sam said. It's I like that again, as you can tell, the puzzly thing really works for me. This game's pretty puzzly. And the theme helps, but it's not that important. This game's theme is there, but it's not like, oh yeah, that makes sense that guy would do that. Kind of, But I just like the way everything works. It's a fighting game that is also a puzzle. It's a game that you build up the fight and then press the button and everybody fights. And I like that. I like preparing what's going to happen and then seeing it go off, I like the idea of setting up a line of sight and then having the opponent play one tile that kills that guy before he ever fires, and you go, oh, now I got to neutralize that guy before we fight. All these things are just very appealing to me. All the armies are awesome. The whole thing is a game that I hope keeps on giving for a long time, because I'm sure I'm going to keep on loving it. And the app is amazing. So even if you want to just check out the game, try the app out. Okay, Hiroshima Hex, my number 1. Also very high in my top 100.
All right, what's my number 1?
Your number 1
Has not been said.
at all?
There's been a game on Sam's and my list that's very similar. Oh, and your list. No, it wasn't on your list. It was your number 11.
No, I don't know. Sam?
Oh, is it Command and Colors Ancients?
It is Command and Colors Ancients,
Yeah.
which Sam is now going to be like, oh, I can't believe it was blocks, even though I just put a game on my list that uses chits, which is worse than blocks. So
That's
it's
true.
very confusing. But anyway, Commands and Colors
Chits?
Ancients,
Game has chits.
the
Command and Combat Commander Europe.
Combat Commander.
It's World War II though. That's why it's better than Command and Colors Ancients.
Well, okay. Well, no, I can understand the frame, but I love the ancient battles. I've always wanted to fight, across the plains, the Romans versus the Carthage and all that stuff. And Commands and Colors really did a good job. I like the Commands and Colors system. It started with Battle Cry, then went to Memoir, then went to Battle Lore, and Commands and Colors came out at the same time. And they're very different. The one has a very magical flavor, and the other has a very leader-oriented flavor, where there's leaders moving around, and it's all about, there's very little ranged combat in
Keeping
it.
your line.
Right, keep the line, hold the line, because if part of your line gets destroyed, you're in trouble. It also had the most complexity, probably, the most different types of units in it. I just really felt, I think Memoir is at its best when you play 4 and 4, 8, but Commands and Colors is my favorite when it comes to 2.
Just 1 versus 1.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, it's not as fast to play, maybe as Memoir for sure, but I feel like it offers a deeper experience. It's one of the best war games ever made. It's better than ASL.
I wouldn't disagree
Tom
with that.
Vassal at gmail.com.
When you send him hate, make sure you
Hashtag
send it to him.
Hate.
All right, my number 1. You guys don't know what my number 1 is?
Okay, I'm thinking,
It's my favorite from this line of games.
can you
The same game that Tom just said.
Negative.
Oh, can you hand me that?
Because Memoir is my favorite line of
The
games.
black notebook with the ribbon.
Wow.
This is
And
my,
drop everything else on
this
the
is my little black book on Sam.
Oh,
No, it's not.
wow, is that thick?
It's also blank.
I know,
Larry,
right?
so. What is it, Tom? What is his number 1?
What did I miss?
Has it
from
been
this time
mentioned?
frame?
Not at all, right? I assume
It's
it
not
has
on my
been
short list
mentioned.
at all, so I don't know.
Wow.
Has it been mentioned? No?
No, it has not been mentioned. It's probably the passenger mechanic that's kept it off both.
Oh, whoa. Markland came out this
Tickets
year?
to Ride Markland came out 2006,
Oh, okay.
yes. I just double checked it, so don't give me that look. Now, if the geek is wrong, fine. But the geek
I
says
assume it came
the
out.
geek says
I
2006.
assume it came out this year, so.
No, it just I guess I would have put this on my list then, because I would have put it up pretty highly because I really like Ticket to Ride Markland too. But is it
Listen,
a
you
new?
checking, man, when you do these? He's
Oh.
just pulling out games from the shelf and checking the dates in the rule books or something. What are you doing?
I guess. I
I
don't
don't know if this counts as a new game or not for me.
Oh, okay. Well, that's valid enough, I guess.
I guess, yeah, maybe so.
Fine.
But we were
Sam, go ahead.
talking about games from the year 2006. I didn't know that if
No.
fine.
I'm debating with myself. I'm not invalidating your choice at all.
Okay, good. My number 1 is
Code Pod.
Ticket to Ride Markland. I love the fact that every single card in the game is different. Each individual train card, even though they have the same colors on some of them, each little part of the train is different. I love that they actually did that. I really liked the hobby.
Cards, right?
Yeah, the cards, the cards that you used for the different sets. I love that. I double checked it. What?
No, I was just thinking about that. No, and I was thinking a positive thing. I was just in a train store a couple days ago. I took my daughter and I was like, hey, let's go look at this train store. And when I saw Markland, and I was like, ooh, Ticket to Ride Markland. I like those trains better than all the rest.
No, they are. They're beautifully illustrated on these cards,
yeah.
and they really did over the top. I also like, one of the good things about it for me is the passenger mechanic.
No, I agree with you.
I really enjoyed that as well.
This is the best version of Ticket to Ride, probably.
The only downfall for the game for me is for the passenger mechanic, those little
Fiddly, yeah.
circle discs that are like very small for my fingers. And when I'm setting those things up, I'm like, oh man. And then when I'm tearing it down, I'm like, check the floor, make sure there aren't any of these things missing, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's very fiddly, but I really enjoy this game. This is my favorite game from 2006. Ticket to Ride Markland.
So those are our favorite games. What games did we miss? What games should we have talked about? What games did we talk about that shouldn't be on the list? Tell us in the comments below. It's interesting, I think, to take a look back at these games 10 years later. We'll be back with a much better year next year. 2007, I think, was better than 2006. But anyhow, thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell.
Z Garcia, thanks everybody.
Sam Healy. See you on the flip side.